But for a lot of people, that's not what happens. Instead, there's this persistent background feeling that something is slightly off. Not crisis level. Not dramatic. Just a low-grade sense of dissatisfaction that doesn't fully go away, even when life is, on paper, going well. And the strange part is that it's become so common that people assume it's just normal. What I want to argue is that this feeling is not random. It's not purely psychological weakness, and it's not just stress. It's a predictable response to how modern life is structured. Because modern life is not designed for closure. It's designed for continuous input without resolution. And that difference matters more than most people realize. To understand this, it helps to contrast it with how human experience used to be structured. For most of human history, life was cyclical. You exerted effort, and that effort had a visible end state. You hunted, you gathered, you built, you repaired. You could see when something was done. Even hardship had boundaries. You were hungry, then you ate. You were tired, then you rested. You were cold, then you warmed up. There was a built-in rhythm of tension and release. Even emotionally, there were clearer arcs. Social interaction was localized. Information was limited. Your awareness of the world ended at a much narrower radius. Now compare that to the modern environment. There is no natural endpoint to information intake. There is no completion state for your attention. You can always scroll further, refresh again, check again, respond again. Nothing is ever fully resolved. It just fades into the background and gets replaced by the next thing. That shift seems subtle, but psychologically it changes everything. Because the human brain is not optimized for continuous partial engagement. It is optimized for cycles, engagement, completion, recovery. When you remove completion, you don't eliminate the need for it. You just create a permanent state of low-level unresolved tension. And that tension is often what people describe as feeling off, even when nothing is wrong. One of the biggest drivers of this is what you could call infinite input systems. Your phone is the clearest example. There is no natural stopping point. No final page. No endpoint where the system says, "You are done now." Instead, everything is structured to extend engagement. One more video. One more post. One more update. Even when content is not emotionally intense, the structure itself keeps your attention slightly activated. And that matters because attention is not neutral. Attention is a form of energy allocation. When your attention never fully disengages, your mind never fully downshifts. So even during rest, you're not fully resting. You're in a kind of suspended state, partially engaged, partially detached. This creates what feels like mental noise. Not loud, not overwhelming, just constant. Another layer is the collapse of natural boundaries. In older environments, work ended when you physically left a place. Social life happened in distinct spaces. Rest had a defined container. Now those boundaries are blurred. You can work at any time. You can be socially accessible at any time. You can consume stimulation at any time. The result is that your brain never gets clear signals about what mode it's supposed to be in. And without clear mode switching, the nervous system stays partially activated. That's important because a lot of well-being is not about what you are doing. It's about whether your system believes the current state is complete. Completion is what allows downregulation. Without it, you get a kind of chronic open-loop processing state. Now, there's another piece that makes this even more intense: the substitution of progress signals. Historically, progress was tied to physical reality. You could see what changed. A field was cleared. A structure was built. A task was finished. Now, we increasingly interact with proxy signals of progress. Messages read. Notifications cleared. Likes received. Emails answered. Feeds updated. These feel like completion signals, but they don't actually resolve anything meaningful in the real world. So the brain gets frequent micro-rewards without corresponding closure. And over time, this trains a strange pattern: high stimulation, low satisfaction. You feel like you're constantly doing things, but rarely feel finished. That gap is where the off feeling lies. There's also a deeper evolutionary mismatch happening. Human attention systems evolved in environments where novelty was rare. Novel stimuli were meaningful because they were tied to survival. New sounds, new threats, new opportunities. Now novelty is constant and low cost. So your brain is constantly flagging things as potentially important, even when they are not. This creates a background level of alertness that never fully shuts off. Not anxiety in the traditional sense. More like cognitive static. And because it's normalized, people don't interpret it as a signal. They interpret it as just how life feels now. But perhaps the most important part of this is what it does to satisfaction. Satisfaction is not just about getting good things. It's about experiencing a clear contrast between effort and completion. If everything is continuous, nothing fully lands. Even positive experiences get absorbed quickly into the next input cycle. You finish something, but immediately move on to the next thing. You achieve something, but it's instantly compared to something else. You rest, but in a fragmented way. So the emotional system never fully registers completion long enough for it to stabilize into satisfaction. Instead, it resets quickly. And that's where the subtle dissatisfaction comes from. Not from lack of good things, but from lack of closure. So what's the implication of all of this? It's not that modern life is bad or broken in a simple sense. It's that it is structurally continuous in a way human psychology was not designed for. Which means the problem is not content, it's architecture. The input is endless. The boundaries are weak. The completion signals are artificial. And attention is constantly partially engaged. And when those conditions are present long enough, the baseline experience of life shifts. Even in calm moments, the system feels slightly unresolved. Even in stable periods, there's a sense of something missing, even if you can't clearly define what it is. So the question becomes not how to eliminate stimulation entirely, that's unrealistic, but how to reintroduce structure that allows for real completion. Clear endpoints. Deliberate disengagement. Moments where input actually stops, not just pauses. Because without that, the mind never gets to fully transition out of processing mode. And if it never transitions out, then even a good life can feel strangely unfinished. Not because it is incomplete, but because nothing ever fully closes.